as we have let you know, you can leave your cameras on, but if you want to, you can switch them off. I will ask you to turn them on when we work in groups and pairs. But for now, you can leave them off or on, whatever you like. Some rules, just as in the classroom, when we start our year or semester, there are some things that we need to agree on. First of all, it's online, so the mics, as I have already said, are off. We are gonna turn them on sometime. The video, if you want to, you can switch it off. If you want to see the participants' faces, you can either swipe if it's a phone or a tablet, or use the navigation on your screen in the computer. Then the little image of people with the hands. That means that I'm going to expect you to participate actively, all right? We're going to work today. It's not a lecture. It's not a typical webinar. It's a lesson, the biggest one, with 104 participants for now. And the questions. I will leave the time at the end of the session for the questions. You can also ask the questions in the chat box, but there will be time at the end as well. Let's get started, and let's look at the session plan. I've planned lots of things, and when it comes to emailing, there's always so much to tell, and it's very hard to choose what to talk about. We're going to look at types of emails, emailing do's and don'ts. We're going to brainstorm together the structure of an email, one of the typical ones, useful phrases, some language, and the tone of voice. And of course, we're going to write emails today. If you are using a computer, you will be opening something in the other window. Probably, if you are using a tablet or a phone, you can still open the links I will be sending you in the chat box, and you can still listen to what's going on. All right, so I will be sending you things in the chat box, links to Google Forms, Google Docs, and we'll ask you to open them so that you can see the materials, because normally our students have books in print version. Today I'm going to give you the materials either on the slides or in the chat box with the link. All right? Okay, so right now, I would like you to answer a couple of questions about your emailing habits. You're going to see 2 questions in a minute, and I want you to read the question and choose the answer that suits you and your experience with emailing better. The first question will ask you how often you write emails, and there will be options, 1 option to choose from. The second question will be, who do you usually write emails to? Okay, so as soon as you see the question, you can press the answers on the screen, and then we will all see the results. Ready, steady, go. So press the answers. Mm-hmm. Okay, so I see that for now, 20 people write emails every day. 10 people write 3-4 times a week. Some people 7, every day, hundreds of them. I feel you, yeah, the same here. 1-2 times a week, also 20 people, which is 30%, all right. And then the question, who do you usually write emails to? You can choose several options here. Colleagues, clients, business partners, friends, family, random people. Yeah, there are some funny answers as well here. Okay, all right. So 58% of us voted, not everyone I see. So 60% voted, very good. Okay. Mm-hmm. So we see that most of us have to deal with emails for work, and we write them with different time limits to different people. And the interesting thing about writing emails now is that lots of business communication and lots of communication for work has moved into the messengers and into the chats. So emails are still there, but it's not the fastest way of communication. Usually it takes time to write, to reply. Also, it takes time to read what you have. If you need quick ways, it's usually a chat. And emails are more formal. Most of the informal communication, very informal, has moved again into chats. This is what the trend is. And that is why I'm not going to classify emails today according to formal and informal. We're going to talk about degrees, levels of formality, but it's not going to be an informal letter to a friend. Usually friends, yes, we see that some of you have friends who you write to, 44%, but still most of the communication is about work. All right, let's finish the questionnaire. Tell me if you see the results in the chat box. Let me know.
I can't see.
You can't see? Not yet, not yet, no? Okay. All right, something is not working here with the... Okay. What about now?
Yeah, better.
Yes, better. Yes, so the results are here, yes. Right, so how often do we write emails? 1 to 2 times a week is the most numerous answer. Who do you usually write emails to? Colleagues in your company is the most popular one, and then friends as well, and business partners. Right, okay. Let's move on then. Let's finish with this. Let's keep in mind the fact that we write emails to different people with different time frames. I'm going to show you now a slide with an interesting text. And when I show it to you, I want you to read it quickly, as quick as you can, and tell me in the chat box what is strange about this text. Ready? Steady. Go. Yes, spelling, but yes, it's the spelling, bad order, spelling mistakes. Yes, so you have noticed that. A very interesting thing about this was a real research at Cambridge University. The first and the last letter is the same, but in the middle, the letters are mixed up. But you still get the meaning. You still get the word and the message. And this is how our eyes work. And they read the word and they start from the first and the last letter. Then there is the middle, not in the way, in the usual order. How is that related to writing emails? What do you think? What is the connection here? How is that related to writing emails, to reading emails? Let me know in the chat as well. We remember first and last points, all right? Grammar doesn't matter. We could use short forms and save time. Mistakes in emails, yeah, you can write with mistakes. We should understand the main idea. People read very quickly, yes, that's a good point, yes. Most important is the beginning and the end. You can write them quickly. Yes, so the message here, and the reason why I included it, Alina, you're very right. Yes, the content is more important than grammar. Yes, when we write emails, when we write messages, misprints are okay. I mean, they happen. They're not okay. We have to edit and reread, but they happen. But the grammar and the vocabulary is not the key thing when you write an email to a partner, to a colleague. The key thing is to get your message across. The most perfect email with the perfect grammar and perfect vocabulary, talking about very difficult to understand things, is not going to be perceived as in a great way, as much as the email containing several, perhaps, mistakes, but getting the message across. So getting the message across is important, and this is what we're going to focus on a lot today. In international communication, business emails, if you communicate in English with people from other countries, for example, you might be communicating with native speakers, and then they probably will have a good spelling, grammar, and vocabulary, not always, but usually. If you are communicating in English with people from other countries, they are very likely to use to make some mistakes, to use some strange structures, and so on and so forth. So it's not going to be about grammar and vocabulary. It's going to be structures, language, and some useful things when you write emails. One more task for you. I'm going to show you the abbreviation that can be seen somewhere when you write or receive emails, when you might have seen them already. When you see the abbreviation, write in the chat box what it means, if you know it, all right? If you know what it means, write it in the chat box. So the first one, CC. Copy. Cucumber. Recipient, yes. Copy, right, yes. So when you are writing an email, and I have an image of it here, the main recipient is two. This is the first person you're writing to, the recipient. There could be several of them. A CC, yes, this is when you want to copy someone in. The name, the full name for it, why it's called CC, is actually carbon copy. This little thing is called carbon copy, yes. Right. There are certain rules of who you can copy and who you cannot, who you should include into to, who you should include into CC. CC is usually for people you want to let know of the email that was sent. Perhaps it's your manager, it's your boss, or someone else who needs to know that this email was sent. Yes, Andrei is actually giving us the next one, the answer already. BCC, right, BCC, this is blind carbon copy. Blind carbon copy. What is the difference between a CC and a BCC in an email? Yeah, CC, when you send it to everyone, everyone sees the emails. BCC, when you put the email in it, no one sees it except for you when you send it.
Invisible.
Yes, invisible, yes. So when you send it, you might include here someone who you don't want to be seen, but you need them to know. Or if you're sending it out, for example, to partners, and you don't want them to know each other's emails, this is etiquette norms. Sometimes you're doing it for the sake of personal data protection. All right, let's move on. FYI. Right. For your attention, for your information, different answers. Okay. All right. Yes, this is for your information. For your information. I've seen examples when I send that abbreviation, and you can use it in an email for work if you know a person. It's not for a very formal request or inquiry into a bank, for example. People sometimes get offended by that. No, FYI is a normal way of saying for your information. It's nothing absolutely offensive. It's okay. ASAP or ASAP. Easy, I think you know it all, but still the full phrase. So we have as soon as possible. Yep. As soon as possible, right. Okay. KR, a little bit more challenging. Yes. Right. Yes. This is kind regards. Kind regards, KR. Those words, FYI, ASAP, kind regards, are they going to be used in a more formal email or in a more informal style when you're writing to people who you know?
Informal.
Yeah, in a more informal style, but still for work. Usually it's when you know the person, well. Right. Okay. Great. So as I see, most of us have been working with emails, you know things. So now we're going to talk and think about emailing do's and don'ts. What are the things we should do when we write an email? What are the things that we shouldn't do? Perhaps you've seen bad examples of your colleagues doing things, or you know some rules of emailing, right? For example, a good practice do of an email is to include a signature, right? That's an easy one. But a don't would be, for example, to include the subject of the email. Natalia is writing, yes, the subject of the email into the subject line, right? Do not send the email without the subject. That's a good practice, yes. So we're going to now try and brainstorm do's and don'ts for writing emails. I'm going to ask you to join the group of a person. Right now, we will break into groups of 4, perhaps 5, all right? You will receive an invitation, a notification to join a breakout room or session zal in Russian, all right? When you have this notification, press join. You might be with people who you don't know. Normally in our regular groups, you know the people you're working with, but today we're going to meet each other this way. When you get into the room, switch on your microphone, all right? You need to do this in order to talk to your partners and come up with at least 3 do's and at least 3 don'ts. Okay? So checking the instructions. How many people are you going to work with in the room? Can you type it in the chat box? Yep, 4 or 5, great. How many do's and don'ts do you have to come up with? 3, perfect. Okay, so I'm setting up rooms now. I'm going to be jumping between rooms. You're going to have up to 5 minutes for that, perhaps less, all right? And then we will all come back. Oh, I need to do maths, okay. Sending you the invitations, mics on, do's and don'ts, up to 5 minutes, make notes, then we will all come back and share, okay? So when you discuss, make notes on a notepad, in a phone, in a computer, wherever you want, all right? Please press join. Or войти в сессионный зал. Так, Лариса, Александр, Анна, Евгения, Евгений, Катерина, Anna, we need you to enter the session. Okay, so guys, if you have missed the invitation, I'm going to move you again to the other halls. Okay, people who are joining us, we are in breakout rooms and I'm sending you the invitations, okay? All right, so we have still people who haven't joined. Alexandra, Maria, Victoria. Please join the session rooms. Natalia, hello. Hello.
Can you hear me? Who can hear me? Nobody?
Hello? Don't worry, I can hear you.
Hello,
I hear nothing.
hello, could you hear me? Hello,
Answer if you don't hear us. Anybody here?
Ah,
I,
is anybody there?
yes,
Oh, somebody hears me. Nice. Ah, yeah, okay. Me too. I can hear you too.
okay,
Елена? Елена?
yes,
Okay,
I'm
Natalia.
okay,
Natalia.
Natalia, I
Yes.
hear you, and maybe I could hear Victoria.
Yes, of course.
Oh, I
Hello.
hear Victoria.
I hear Victoria too.
Okay. I have formulated some idea for do's and don'ts.
Uh-huh.
For those.
All right, I have for now, I'm sorry for interruption. I have muted everyone because we are all coming back from the breakout rooms. Okay, we have come back already, so we all hear each other. I heard that some of you had a good time and you came up with some do's and don'ts. Some of you perhaps experienced some challenges joining, but I did hear you discussing things, and I hope you did come up with the ideas that we're going to share in a minute in the chat, and I'm going to put them on the board as well. In a regular group, when we have the breakout rooms, we have maximum 10 people, and we of course make sure that everyone gets into the room. We monitor. I jumped between some rooms, and I think some of you saw me in the room, but it's a challenge with 100 people, but we managed it. I hope we managed it. How did it feel? How did it feel, the breakout room? Was it okay? Did you manage to talk to each other?
It was quite easy.
When you spell it, well, it happens. Yes, the time limit is there. It's quite strict. Yeah, 2 people were too few. Yeah, some people didn't join. That's why we tried the connection. Well, if it's the connection, it's always complicated with the connection. We have to check our connection first. Perhaps reload the Wi-Fi. Yes. All right. So let's talk about the results. Let's talk about do's and don'ts. Maria, I tried to move you into another room. Okay. All right. So I'm showing a board now. Just like in the regular classroom. And I'm going to put your ideas that you are going to share in the chat box. Since there are lots of us, again, 100 of people, we're going to not say, but write in the chat box. Extra writing practice. In a normal group, we will share it, of course, by speaking, perhaps by writing some posters. So I'm putting do's and then also don'ts. So what about do's? What about, let's start with positive things. We all need something positive. Do's, greetings, reason, body, ending. Okay, so if it's a greeting, reason, body, ending, it's a structure, probably, right? Structure, okay. Okay.
Clear subject.
All right, yeah, subject, clear subject. Signature, I saw it somewhere, okay. Signature. Okay, yes. Main topic paragraph, polite language, attachments. We're going to talk about attachments, by the way, yes. Polite language. With polite language, I like to say that there's almost never too much please. With writing emails for work, and this is a big difference between people from our countries, for example, Ukraine, Russia, and other Belarus, writing emails for work, and people from, say, England, States, or Europe writing emails. we tend not to use enough, please, enough kind language, just because probably it's not so typical in our language. But when we write emails for work in business English, this is absolutely necessary.
And don't use jargonism and slangs.
Right. Yes. Thank you, Yuri. I will ask you to share it in the chat box if it's okay. All right. All right. Spelling and appropriate tone. Right. Okay. I'm just putting some of them, but lots of good ideas. Absolutely. Appropriate tone. All right. Then we have don'ts. Let's move on. One paragraph, one idea, a great one as well. Actually, right now, a good practice is to write one main point in an email, one main message in one email. Not always possible. If it's a lot of information, we have to organize it and structure it. Right. Right. Don'ts. Ira has already started writing. Don't be rude. Right. That's absolutely, don't be rude. Avoid emotions. Emotions or emoticons? I wouldn't agree that we shouldn't use them at all, but you should very carefully use them. Absolutely. No private questions. Okay, don't use private questions. Okay. Not use informal tone. Abbreviations. We can use some. The ones that we saw are used in emailing. It's just not very formal. It's more of a personal email, and I'm going to talk about types. Don't use not clear, unclear purpose. Don't state your message, let's say vaguely. Vaguely means unclear. Vaguely, not clear. Nina's saying, what about haven't shortenings? Good question. You can use abbreviations like short forms, but in personal business emails. This is when you're writing to a colleague who you know for a long time. And then you can say, hi, I was just wondering, we might wanna go tomorrow. Wanna can be wanna in this case. Haven't can be haven't. But if we're writing to a manager, to a client, to a business partner, no abbreviations, no haven't, no things like that. So we will say don't use contractions. Those are called contractions. Have not, haven't. Haven't is a contraction, haven't. Capital letters like a loud voice, absolutely. Caps lock, we call it caps lock. We're gonna see it. I'm gonna show you the list that I have. Don't use caps lock because it's considered to be aggressive. Again, sometimes we think that we will use caps lock just to highlight the very important information. Now, caps lock usually is considered to be passive aggressive. It can be used sometimes in subjects of the email when you want to attract people's attention and to very quickly tell them that, you know, guys, it's very important, urgent. Urgent can be caps locked. Okay, we will finish for now here with this board.
Don't use overcomplicated grammar.
Oh, absolutely. Don't use very complicated grammar. The simpler, the better with business emailing. We are not trying to show people whatever we have learned in the English class. We're not trying to prove them that we're C1 or C2. We are trying to get the message across. So all of those subjunctive moods, perfect gerunds, whatever else, can be kept for essay writing or something else. Simple, because there is a reason, and I'm going to show you in a minute. Simple language is necessary because you want the person who is reading to understand your message. That's all. And this is the slide that I have here. Oh. I also have a list of don'ts, and let's do it together. We have write the message in the line. What's the word here?
Subject.
Right. Yes, subject line. Use E marks a lot. Exclamation marks, we have mentioned it several times today. Use very language, informal language. Forget to include yours. Signature, right? Yes. Use caps lock, right? Caps lock. So those are don'ts, and that's not all the list. It's not comprehensive. It goes on and on and on, of course. Yes. All right. Emailing do's. Emailing do's. Be and get to the point quickly. Quickly. Be brief, right? Be brief. We don't want to talk about everything and anything. We need, again, to get the message across. Use short to structure the text.
Phrases.
Paragraphs. Phrases as well. Agree with phrases. Guys, I'm going to ask you again to share that in a chat, all right? When we have the real group, when we study together, we're going to say it out loud, absolutely. Just for everyone's comfort and so that I don't get disconnected. Disrupted the voice, I mean. Use a short line. We mentioned it. Subject line. Subject line is the topic of the email. Use the words P when asking someone. Right. Please is not too much. Please, please, please. Before sending the email or your email, and reread, right? I like that word. Reread your email. Reread. It takes me sometimes longer to reread the email than to write it. Sometimes we're in a hurry, and a good thing is to reread it, because while we're writing, we might just lose something or use some spelling mistakes, which we will try to avoid, of course. All right, so right now we're going to try and write one email. We're going to write one now, then we're going to compare it to the model that I will show you. And then as a homework, and you will have homework, you will write another one, okay? Since it's emails, we're writing everything in the forms in the computer. I'm going to send you the link in the chat box. I will ask you to open it. And you will see a form asking you to write an email. So in the chat box, you have a link to a Google form. In the Google form, you will write an email to your friend about your summer holiday plans, your notes, just a quick, brief email. I think it should take us 3 minutes for that. So open the form and write an email. I will receive all of them right now. We won't know whose email is that. And we'll see some examples and then compare to the model and look at the structure together. So take your time. I'm going to wait for your answers. I'm setting the time limit 3 minutes now. Sending the link again. Vladimir, yes, sure. All right, I see some answers. Someone is having fun and just sending good smiley faces, but I see some answers already coming in. I'll show you my screen. You'll also see them. All right, so we have 1 minute to finish. Okay, 20 seconds to finish. Your Chrome is out, Yuri, I'm sorry. You will still be able to do it when you get it back. Okay, let's finish. Thank you very much. Lots of emails, right? Okay, all right, let's take a look at some examples we have here. Lots of good examples, lots of great things with phrases like, I will be out of the office during the next week with limited access to the internet, for example, or also out of the office, how are you doing? How is your teaching? How are your teaching classes going on? Okay, hope that you did have vacation as planned. I'm writing to inform about my vacation. What is the difference between the word vocation and vacation? What is the difference between vocation and vacation? Right, vocation is training, yes, or vocation is something you are interested in, something you are dedicated to. This is my vocation. But vacation, this is a holiday, right? Yep. Okay. Hello, David. I would like to inform you that I will be out of the office and I may have limited access to my email. I will come back to you on the earliest possibility, but yes, on the earliest possibility. But if you have any urgent issue, please contact my colleague Kira through her email. Very good example, good phrases. We can say at the earliest possibility, at the earliest convenience, right? All right, let's finish looking at our examples. Great work, thanks a lot. If we were doing it in class, I would ask you to write the email to me before the lesson and look at how we do it, and then check and then look at the example. For now, we are going to look at another example and compare what we have written to what we have in the document. This is going to be a Google Doc. All right, I'm sending it in the chat box. You can open it, and I will also demonstrate it in the class right now on the screen. So the second link I just sent, email handouts. Those are the handouts we will open now and look at them together. I will show you the same thing on the screen. So let's look at it together. Just a second. Okay, I hope you have managed to open it. This will be your handout and you will be able to download it. for now, we're looking at the first page. We have a subject, away on holidays. That was the email according to the same task that you did. The greeting hi. I saw someone said it's not okay. If you're writing to a friend, which is also a colleague friend, it could be, it's okay. Then a good practice, this is the first paragraph. A good practice here, introduction, ask, we call it pleasantries. Ask about the holiday if you know that the person was on holiday, or say that it was so nice to see you, or something like that. Hope you had a great time. I'll be away on mine when you get this. I'm off to Florida. Really looking forward to it. So some pleasantries, something that you can share if you know the person. In this case, we're talking about knowing the person. Then just a quick note to tell you that all the info to update you on the last couple of weeks is with Tanya. Quick note to tell you, you're saying that you're writing this email with this purpose. Quick note to tell you. She's collected memos and posts for you, so you're transferring the things that you want to during the vacation time. Short form, take a look. Short form, speak to you when I get back. Speak to you, not I will speak to you or we will speak to each other. You can say speak to you when I get back. Short form, when you know the person. It's still an email for work. I won't be able to check my emails while I'm away. And you can finish with a very short ending, best or cheers or hugs, depending on how well you know the person. Now, let's look at the second example. I will ask you to look at page 2. Read the email and say what is the difference between the first one and the second one in terms of the level of formality. Formal? If yes, how do you know? So let me know in the chat box. The first one is informal, the second one is more formal. Partners, second one is formal, right? We will say that second one is more formal. More formal, right? Yes, yes. So let's look at the structure a bit more in detail. Grammar, vocabulary, special phrases, I agree, absolutely, thank you for that. So it starts with the subject. The subject goes in the real email. How long should the subject be, usually? I will zoom a little right. Thank you for asking, yeah. Top partners online meeting. Usually it should be 3 to 8 words. 3 to 8, yes. Well, 5 to 8, 3 to 8, yes. Then we have the introduction, and we start with dear partners. Then we have still the introduction. So this will be the introduction. In this introduction, we have a very good phrase that you can use. We would like to invite you. We would like to invite you. I'm writing to invite you, could also work. So this is what you can use in the introduction. You will have these phrases at the end of the handout as well. Then we have, we will focus on. I'm going to make it smaller as I need the highlighter. I'm sorry, I will make it a little bit smaller and I'll highlight the words for you. Meeting of our top partners, where we will focus on. Focus on good verb, especially in terms of preposition. It's not focus in, focus on. Then we are looking at the details. Here are the details, short and specific. Thursday, 26th of March, March 26th. Here is the link to register. Then a good phrase, please feel free to do something. Feel free to do something, which means you're welcome. You're welcome. Fine, quite formal phrase. And this is actually a real example. I just changed some words from the email we received for work. Forward is a verb in this case. Forward. Send. Then this is already the main body of this email. Feel free to forward due to the current situation. All of these 4 paragraphs are about main body. The introduction. Dear sir or dear sir. We have a question, right? You can use, no, you start with a capital, dear, for sure. Sir with the capital is more polite. Dear sir is usually, it's like Mr., Mrs., Miss as well. Then we have due to the current situation. A very relevant phrase right now. Due to, it means because of. Because of the present situation, in another way that you can say it, but we're trying to make it concise. In business writing, we try to make it more brief, as we have said. So we try to put it in less words. We have been receiving requests to deliver testing and so on and so forth. At this point, another good expression for us. At this point, at the moment, at present, currently, and other things that express at this moment. We have reviewed and approved. Reviewed can be used very often in business writing when you say, I have looked at, I have looked through, I have reviewed. Reviewed is a bit more formal and a better style. It has better style in it. A very typical expression, a cliche, which I often see mistakenly used or misused. Please find something attached. Please find attached. Please find the document attached. Please find the email, the list attached, the price list and things like that. Very important. When you are attaching something in an email, it is important to refer to it in the body. You cannot just send some random files and not comment on them in the body. And that's why we have this reference here. I'm looking at the chat for a moment. In the attachment, right. Yes, you can also say attached or in the attachment. Yes, it's another way of saying it. Yes. Then we have almost the main part, but moving towards the end. If you actually close an agreement with any of them, we would like to know to be able to promote it accordingly. A good word, it's a conditional in this case. If you do something, we would like to do something, a mixed one. But we're interested in the word accordingly today. Accordingly, it means according to the procedure, accordingly. Yes, Yaroslav is also saying that attached, we can say enclosed, right? Yes. And the formula we look forward to. We look forward to doing something. So to talking, to hearing, to seeing, to meeting, to receiving, to doing something, or a noun. We look forward to your reply, for example. You can also say we're looking forward. We are looking forward to doing something. Sounds a bit, continuous and gerund, but still. And meanwhile is a good phrase as well. Meanwhile, and during this time while we're looking forward, we'll be contacting you separately. So this is the ending, the closing of the email, the conclusion. All right. And then this is a signature and the sign off. And since it's a formal email to the partners, you include a more formal way of saying bye, not just regards, but best regards. I'll show you the difference between different formulas in a moment. The name, last name, position, phone, email, site. Sometimes people include Skype as well, or something in their signature that will help the receiver contact them quickly. And this is a good practice when you sign off, when you finish your email with enough contact details, and you use them when you are writing to someone you don't know. Another important thing, the main message of this email is actually right here at the beginning. The main message is at the beginning, and this structure is the way of writing a business email. It's called blot, the approach to writing a business email, and I'm sending it to the chat box. Blot means bottom line on top. When we are writing an essay, a story, the main thing usually is at the end. In work emails, business emails, we put everything on top. The most important information goes on top. Several reasons for that. Reason number one, people might not read it till the end. Reason number two, people actually do not scan or do not read in details emails very often. They scan, they skim even. Skim means reading quickly. Yeah, they read it very quickly. All right, and on page 3, we have all the phrases that we just looked at. Keep them in your mind. T, Yuri is asking, yeah, bottom line on top. Bottom line on top. Bottom line on top. Okay, let's review the phrases again. We don't have much time, but we will be wrapping up soon, as I did want to share lots of things today with you. Let's look at the screen. Keep in mind the text that we just looked at and the phrases, keep them somewhere. We just looked at 2 texts. And the type of email, you decide on what kind of email you're writing by answering those 2 questions. How well do you know this person? And is the person inside of your company or outside? I personally like the second question because usually when you're writing to the person inside of your company, usually, not always, corporations, global organizations and things like that. But usually if it's a small or medium company, you know people. And that means that you know the person and the level will be different. Who you're writing to determines, which means explains, how you are writing or defines how you're writing. So once again, greetings. I will show you the phrases. You will get the PowerPoint as well. You have those phrases in your handout, the same doc that we just looked at. This is page 4. Depending on how formal they are, they go like that, from the beginning, from the top to the bottom. So the formal way, dear Mr., Mrs., all sirs, partners, colleagues. Sirs is not the best way because it's a bit gender, not, you know, it's not tolerant in terms of gender. So better to say dear all, or dear colleagues, dear partners, dear someone neutral. Dear Paul, if you know a person, you will start with dear Paul. Then if you know the person and you say dear Mr., better to say dear Paul. Then hi, hello, if it's more informal. No greeting, also possible when it's a reply to someone's email. When you reply to someone's email and it's like a 10th email in a row, you can omit it. Then we have opening. That's a structure. Opening. This is to. We would like to. I'm writing to you about. Just a quick note to do something. To, let's say, to let you know. Main part. Some phrases, again, from very formal to less formal. look through the phrases. Perhaps, of course, you can add some more, but we only have this much time and we want to cover everything in this hour. Please feel free to do something. It's also important to note, in addition, additionally. This is a main part, and these phrases help you to organize your ideas. Small paragraphs, one idea per paragraph, as we have already mentioned, and use some words that link ideas. And these words link ideas. Closing. Closing is about looking forward most of the time. Looking forward to your reply, to talking, as I mentioned, to hear. Hope to, informal, looking forward to doing something formal. Signatures. Very often, that's a question. What is the difference between yours sincerely and best regards? Yours sincerely is when you do not know a person and when you are writing a very formal email, like an inquiry into a bank or something very formal to the government. That's not when you know a person, that's when you don't, and it's very formal. Best regards, still formal. Best all the best, and then cheers. Okay, let's move on. And the last thing we're looking at before we get the homework, which is to write your real email and use all the phrases. Tone of voice. I asked you what is the difference between those two emails. In the first email and in the second email, we had a different tone of voice. Which of them was friendlier? The first one or the second one? Can you let me know in the chat box? The first one, right. So the tone of the voice is actually how you sound to another person. And the tone of voice in speaking is very easy. You know, you can say the same phrase with different tones of voices. I can say, all right, guys, let's look at this text together. Or, all right, guys, let's look at this text together. In writing, there is also a tone of voice, but it's more difficult to transform it, to transfer it. And sometimes, if we don't pay attention to it, it might sound rude to other people. And this is the definition, one of the definitions of what a tone of voice is. It's about how you say it, not what you say. That's why I'm saying that knowing just grammar and vocabulary and spelling is not enough. The tone of voice might give another impression to your colleagues or partners when you're writing for work. I'm going to show you some examples. For example, the sentence. Read it on the slide. If you don't get that to me by 1 p.m. today, we're going to miss our deadline. It can be read with several tones of voices. And when you're writing it, please think how the person on the other end is going to read it out loud. How is it going to sound in his head? And that's one of the reasons why sometimes emails are misinterpreted, misunderstood. A better way would be to say this. It's longer, but it's more polite, for sure. Let's move on to number 2. Read and think how you would make it sound more polite, friendlier. Not more polite, this is internal email, a colleague writing to a colleague, but how would you make it sound more more politically correct, if you may say that, or friendlier, not to offend another person. That would be the answer. One of the possible options, if you don't want to offend another person, if you don't want a person to misinterpret what you're saying, to interpret it differently. When we are angry or aggressive, the best solution in writing emails is not to write an email. If we are aggressive, if we're upset or angry, the tone of voice then will change, and people will feel it. Or we write it and we reread it. We try to read it with different voices. And that's how you can understand your tone of voice. That's my slide here. First of all, you think what is your relationship, what your relationship with the receiver is. Then you reread the message aloud or to yourself and imagine how the person would read it. If you're not sure of the tone, change it to a more polite one. And another way, if you're not sure of the tone, ask someone else to read your email aloud. That is my question to myself always. Am I sounding aggressive? Am I sounding too friendly? Am I sounding too pushy? That is the question that is okay to ask yourself when you're writing an email to people who you don't know very well and you want them to perceive you okay. Some useful things before we go and do our homework that help you to write. Grammarly is a great tool that will help you and check your spelling, grammar, whatever. You can integrate it into an email. Write and Improve is the site that helps you to check your writing and tells you the level of your writing. And our homework will be on this site. You will receive in your homework the link and the task to write an email. It will check your email right there and it will give you the feedback on your writing. Since lots of us are here, we cannot check it together, but the site will check it for you. In the normal group, of course, I will check in a regular group, I will check it all myself. All right. Before I give you the home task, there's good news. I've been talking about First Cambridge Education Center and our lessons. We have launched lots of online groups now that will work for 6-8 weeks, different types, online intensive, teenagers, IELTS, English for work, which I will also have B2 level, and my colleague will have B1+. And for the people who are with us in a webinar, we have 10% discount if you pay for the semester, 15% discount if you pay for the whole course. And if you want to get that, discount, all you should do is when you press, yes, Yuri, I'll answer the question. When you press the button Записаться or Записатись, you write the comment, the word business. In the comment, when you sign in for the course, you write the code word business, and then the managers will know that you need a discount. Once again, 15%, this is when you pay for the full course, 6 or 8 weeks, 10% for one semester, which is 3 or 4 weeks, depending on the course. Yuri, you're asking about the prices. Okay, let's move on to Q&A. We can ask questions in the chat box, and then after the session ends, we can still stay, and if you want to chat in person, we can do that. Yuri is asking, can you compare prices for offline and online study in your school? Some PC programs can be damaged and students can quote topic fully. Yeah, the prices are different for the offline and online courses. There are courses right now, the groups that are still studying, that were studying offline, that moved online. You can still join them. When the quarantine is over, they're going to come back offline. We think that decision of moving everyone temporarily for now online was good, because we didn't stop and we're still studying, and it's as effective as face-to-face. Of course, everyone lacks personal touch and attention, and some things that we all love face-to-face for, but this is a good decision. Right, so the prices are different. For online only, they are lower. Offline, the ones that are gonna come back, they are there on the site as well. You can go to Cambridge UA and see for yourself. There is a big range of groups. You still can join them, but some of them have already started working of course. Will there be C1 business group? Yaroslav, thank you for your question. Olga, I'm going to answer it too. They're just finished one, business English C1. We had a great time together with the guys. Happy to see some students today in the session as well. If we have enough people in the C1 wishing to study, yes, we're going to open a C1 as well. So if you're interested, if you haven't found, for example, a level or a group for yourself, you can just go to the site and say записатися. There is just one of them where you can sign up without a group, and then you can talk to managers and see maybe something else is okay for you. Are there any questions? Any other questions? No questions? All right. Thanks a lot. Okay, so your homework, before thanks a lot, your homework, in the same Google Doc that I shared with you, you have homework, that's the last page. Yeah, I'm sorry, I promised to answer before I give you homework. Olga, greetings, dear Mr. John Smith or dear Mr. Smith. Dear Mr. Smith is better. However, they do use both. They do use Mr. name and surname. We prefer to use Mr. and last name. If you're not sure, if you don't want to offend the person, you can say both. You can say name and the last name. Yeah, Uliana is asking about yours sincerely or yours faithfully. What is the difference? Yours faithfully is also very formal. Both of them are very formal. When you don't know the person at all, when you don't know who you're writing to, this is actually when you use yours faithfully. But yours sincerely is when you at least know the name of a person. Okay, so don't forget about the discount, and you can use this discount not only for the business English course, I mean English for work, you can use it also for other courses as well. So keep in mind the discounts and the code word. Thank you all for coming. Thank you for working so hard. I hope we managed to give you some useful information. Your homework is on the last page of a Google Doc. Please make sure you do it. I'll check it if you come study with us. English for Work B2, right? Yes, Natalia, English for Work B2. This is the name of the group. Great time spent efficiently. Thank you very much. Yeah, it's a bit less interactive than in the real, of course, lesson, because we have to manage to be all together and involved. When it's a smaller group, we do lots of things, all of the things together. All right. How do you define a level? Dusting the quarantine. I don't. To be honest, I'm not sure I understand the question. Yuri, I'm not sure I understand the question. A level dusting the quarantine.
Perhaps he asked you how you can estimate his level in quarantine time.
Oh, you mean how do you define the level in order to join a group?
Exactly.
All right, so the level, we have an online test, level test, that you can do when you sign up for the course. I can show you now how it works on the site. So we go to Cambridge UA. And right here, first of all, that's for the Brать course, the one that we had a question if someone still who asked that. Here you can just write your name here and we will contact you. And then you have Узнай свой уровень онлайн, test your English. Визначення рівня, General English, IELTS, TOEFL, we have all kinds of groups in the center. So you choose General if you're planning to join General English. Yes, thank you, Alona. Yeah, you just sent a link to the chat. Yes, and then you register and you do a test. Our manager receives the test. They contact you. Usually, normally, we have a speaking part as well. So the writing is done online, but then there is a speaking part. Right now, we're doing the speaking part with the Zoom as well, like we're doing it with you now. The managers will talk to you about everything. They will assess your level. They will suggest your options. You can make the payment distantly and then join the groups. Do we have any other questions? You can actually switch on your mics now, I guess. This is more informal part for us, and we can chat if you are interested in something else as well. How are exams going now, Natalia? We are moving exams. We're moving the dates. We're moving every candidate from the dates of the quarantine. We cannot have them now, but we are contacting everyone, and we're offering options. And Cambridge is offering us a pretty much loyal conditions on how we can administer. So we have options that you can choose from, starting from second half of May, June, and everything else. So far, we have more or less stable situation with exams. Will you send home task by email? I will send you the home task, which is in the handout. Should I include it into the email? That's a good idea. Perhaps I will. Yes. I'm just going to show you that it's right here in the last page of the handout. Homework. Write an email to your partners, the site, the write and improve, how to access the task and join the workbook. We will include this into the email now as well, the recording and the PowerPoint presentation as well. Are there any questions?
You work very professionally in Zoom. Will be a webinar about working online.
Oh, thank you, Vika. Thank you. So happy to see you. We are thinking of doing that. To be honest, we have lots of partners around Ukraine, and we have lots of people asking us to help. So perhaps we should, and we're going to think about that for sure. Yeah, we do help our preparation centers right now to set it up. But thank you for the idea. We should think about that. Thank you. Any other questions, any other comments, or thank you so much. Oh, thank you, Alona. Thank you. Thank you, Katerina. Happy to see you. Thank you, Anna. Thank you. Thank you so much. If you're here still, we can chat. Ika, how is it going with you? How is it going with the online?
It was amazing, really.
Yes.
Amazing what? Amazing what?
Amazing, because I know that in grade Katya Prochenko, she is perfect. And when I saw two lessons, you and Katya Prochenko, it was shock for me because I can't choose which is better. So you are look like a star in the grade.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
Yeah.
I get blushed. I blush when I get that nice words, but thank you very much.
Can you explain the difference? Because last week I checked advertisement in a grade and it was look like a business course with you. I would like to take part this course. Can you explain why you changed the name? Work for English for work. What does it mean actually?
Good question. Thank you very much. We're actually doing it for the first time, changing the name. Business English is typical name for typical business English course. Sometimes students take it a bit differently than it is really. Inside of the course, it is really the topics, the phrases, the content, the skills useful for work relationships, for having meetings, for negotiations, for making presentations, for different kinds of work. And business, some people think that if it's business English, it's only for people who are doing business. But it's actually for people who are not just doing business. That's why. Do you think it's a bit confusing?
For me, it's very important because I have already finished B2 level, and I want to improve my English, especially if we talk about negotiation or writing some contract, and I need more vocabulary and grammar. So for me, very important to understanding what the main idea of this course. That's why I ask you.
Mm-hmm. Yes, there are 3 main blocks in the course: meetings, negotiations, presentations, and writing. This emailing, for example, this is part of the program, but the lessons in the course are different. And inside of each lesson, we have vocabulary for useful language, speaking, videos, reading, listening, everything, grammar as well, but it's a bit more of a revision. Because grammar in business English, grammar in general English, it's the same. The difference is in vocabulary and functional language.
Which book you have choose?
Since it's a short course, it's a 6 weeks course, we have a set of our own materials. We are using different books, and we're putting them just in a kind of a set and sending the students a set of materials. Sometimes this book for business English has this topic, which is better. Another book has that topic, and it's a short course. That's why it's going to be a set of 3 materials.
Okay.
We'll be happy to see you.
Of course, I will be in this. I hope so.
We're starting on April 7th.
I know. I will write a message to some guys who suggest these options. And of course, I will be there, I hope.
Great. Thank you very much.
Nice to meet you, really.
Nice to meet you too. Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Bye. Thank you. Any other questions? Shall we maybe finish, or shall we talk about something else? Business, English, grammar. Alona, sign off. Okay. Yaroslav. Okay.
I want to ask.
Yeah, sure. Hello. Hi.
Oh, how to make the speech more fluent? If you don't have enough of speed to speak.
Enough of speaking practice or experience?
I think it depends on experience because I
Okay, Yaroslav, I'm sorry, I'm gonna switch off and I'll turn you on then, okay? Because we're getting the sound interrupted. I'm sorry, Vladimir. Yes.
Okay. Because I speak slowly and I have some vocabulary, but I need to think. I need to have time to think.
It's okay. It's fine. It's actually fine. The reason why you need time to think is because many language points or items or pieces of language that you learned are not automatized. So when you speak fluently, this means that you're not thinking about what you're saying. And whatever you're saying comes out automatically. And that's why the best way is to practice. There is no other way, unfortunately. And the best practice in this case, which helped me a lot as well, is actually monologues speech. And in the course that I was talking about, business, or English for work, we are making presentations and I'm making students speak for 3, 4, 5 minutes delivering something. When you speak in monologues, it becomes more automatic with time, but it's not going to be in one night. All right. So if you want to do it yourself, there is also a great resource. It's kind of strange to talk to a computer sometimes, but still it helps. I gave you homework with Write and Improve. There is also the site called Speak and Improve, also created by Cambridge. And they ask you to talk to the computer. They analyze your speech and they give you tasks. You can do that. You can attend our speaking clubs. We have speaking clubs every weekend. Talk to people there. You can attend an intensive course. They are doing a lot of speaking. We also have a communication skills course, which you can attend. And the emphasis there is on communication. Yeah. So fluency is about practice. It's not about learning new words, new grammar. It's about making things in your head automatic. Lots of methodologists still argue and debate on how fluency works in our mind. But usually it's about the connections in your brain and how fast you can find the words. That's it.
Also, maybe to try to speak slower. Not slower, I mean simpler.
Simpler, yes. Simpler. That's a good idea. That's a good idea. But if your level gets higher, you need to incorporate new things and things that you have learned, and then still the teacher will make you say more difficult things.
Thank you. Thank you for the answer.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you for coming, and I hope to see you in the future as well.
Can I add some tips?
Yes, Yaroslav, please. Yes, you added that as well.
For Vladimir, we practice collocational lessons 3 years ago in grade. Some simple element for make your English more fluent and speaking more fluently. It's like from speed dating. You have 2 small topics. For example, prepare your cards. It doesn't matter how. And you choose this question and speak about this topic 1 minute. And record you. Listen what you recording and talk about this topic again 1 minute. And after 3-5 times, you speak about these topics, and it improve your practice. Because in English, practice make perfect.
Yeah, that's a great point.
It's very simple. From it's like small steps. Which can you start? Let you start.
That's true. Right.
Thanks. Thank you. See you maybe later.
Thank you so much. See you. Yes, thank you. And Tatiana, can you give a link to the site for communication that you mentioned? Yes, sure. This is Speak and Improve. Speak and Improve. I'm gonna send it to everyone. Yes, thank you for your kind words. We're going to be wrapping up. We're going to be finishing now. Hope to see you in our center at our lessons and talk to you soon. Thank you for coming. Bye. Thank you, Katerina. Thank you. Happy to see you.
Thank you so much, and see you in April. Thank you.
Thank you. See you. Thank you so much.
Bye-bye.
Bye. Nice to hear you, Kostya, too. Yeah. Thank you. Thank you so much. Bye. Bye. Thank you.